talk trash, eat trash, think trash, sleep trash, feel trash, know trash, love trash. And I got some good trash for you today. I found in here. Let me show you. Now, upon first glance, you might think this is a tasty McDonald's meal deal, complete with chicken nuggets and a quarter pounder of cheese. But actually, bad news. 26% of affordable housing just in the last quarter was bought up by institutional investors. This is trash. You know what grinds my gears is when we got investors buying up homes when we've already got a housing shortage. Rents are too high, housing prices are too high, mortgage rates are too high. It says here in this article, elevated home prices and mortgage rates, along with sluggish rents, have made low-priced homes increasingly attractive to investors. This means that you're screwed by high mortgage rates, aren't you? You gotta pay those high rents, you've got to pay those high home prices, right? But these investors, they see an investment opportunity. They see the cheapest homes, the most affordable homes that could go to working people, families, average people. Instead, they're being bought like they're investment assets. Between you and me, I don't like using housing as an investment. This just goes into my point. People are homeless in this country, more than we realize, because most of us don't own our own homes. Obviously, renters don't own their own homes. That much is clear to them. But you know what people don't seem to realize is that homeowners, they've got to pay these high mortgage rates. They don't own it. The bank owns their homes. Consider that type of homelessness. As a good friend of mine used to say, you might not be unhoused, but you are probably homeless. I'm sorry. I just had to run to get here to catch these good, affordable real estate prices. You know how the market is these days. You gotta beat the market. You gotta beat the investors. Now, I want to tell you why I got so peeved about 26% of the affordable homes last quarter going straight to investors. I'm here at the intersection of Aleppo Lane and a little rodeo place. And let me tell you, isn't this a bustling, thriving metropolis? No, it's not exactly. What you see here is acres and acres of perfectly developable land that will become housing, real estate in only a matter of time. Take a walk with me. Now, a lot of people don't understand that when it comes down to real estate, land is a big deal. I highly recommend this book. This is a very good, modernized explanation of what's going on with our real estate. You know, why rent is too high, wages too low, what we can do about it. It's by Lars Doucette. Go get yourself a copy. But this problem has been talked about for a long time. This has been going on for centuries, probably for as long as civilization's been around. We have been having improper use of land. We've got this land out here. This is what they want. This is what the investors are buying the homes for. It's for this beautiful brown and green stuff we call land. The land value always rises. Take a look at this bustling town over here. We got a whole town over there. As that town's growing, as the population of that town is growing, this value of this land you see around here is going to go up, up, up. That's what makes it such a sweet little investment for investors.
Oftentimes, towns and cities are where all the wealth is generated because that's where workers and businesses and everything else gather. So the most valuable real estate and the most valuable land is in these urban areas. This means two things. First, that the highest rates of wealth inequality are in those urban areas with the high land values. And the second thing is that the law of rent, according to the law of rent, because the most affordable land is the crappy, farther away land, That's where all the workers have to go. That's where the businesses have to go, and it pushes everything out of the city.
This was talked about a long time ago. I mentioned this is an old problem. This is a book from the 1800s called Progress and Poverty by Henry George. And he knew way ahead of time that we wouldn't necessarily run out of land. We have plenty of land in this country, but we would run out of developable, usable land because rich people would make a profit off of holding it off market. It's called rent seeking. See these homes being built here? The basis of a strong economy, it depends on a strong housing market and housing supply. There should be enough housing to go around. There should be enough for everyone. And that's why I'm interested in this. That's why I want people to consider alternative property tax systems such as the land value tax, which it'll make it so that we can cut taxes on buildings, we can build more housing like this, but at the same time, because it's a tax on the value of the land and not the buildings, it will discourage investors and it'll discourage, they call them speculators, when they buy land simply to hold it and not use it down the line. So if we can discourage those investors and speculators and we start building more housing, we will have an effective, lasting solution to the housing crisis. Remember when houses were built? They built more houses in 1 year in 1960 than all the houses in the past decade. Home building has dramatically decreased. And you know what has happened as a result? Increased home prices. As the housing supply on market for sale, that's what that means. As the housing supply decreases, rents, housing prices, and mortgage interest rates increase. It crushes families, it crushes businesses too, because businesses have to rent their property from they have to buy real estate too to operate in their business. And this is the cause of the housing crisis. When you hear housing crisis, I want you to think housing shortage. There's not enough housing. What would simply solve the housing crisis, and I don't mean to oversimplify, but what would be the best thing to end the housing crisis? I got 2 words for you. Build more housing. We have to increase the supply of housing. This will lower rents, lower prices, increase competition. The issue is when landlords, and don't forget, when I tell you landlord, also think of banks. Banks and landlords are in cahoots. That's why we see financial institutions buying up empty single-family homes. These financial institutions are landlords, and these landlords are financial institutions. They're what's known as absentee landlords. They don't use their properties, they don't occupy their properties. They simply hold them so that the price will increase down the line later. I told you that causes a housing shortage. The home building declines and we end up down here. And when that is the case, we have the housing crisis. The rents are too high, the interest rates are too high, the house prices are too high. Nobody's a homeowner, everybody's a forever renter, everybody's in debt, and everybody's sleeping at their grandma's house. We've got to put an end to this. Why do I care so much about this? Why do I take this issue so seriously? Why am I sprinting in 75-degree sunny heat? I'll tell you why. It's because home ownership has always been the thing that it built the middle class. The middle class is founded on home ownership. The American dream, as they call it, 2.5 kids, a house, 2 cars, all that stuff, white picket fence. That is systematically being taken away from millions of Americans.